What's up, y'all? Toya here, and I am back with another video for y'all. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. All right, y'all, so it's been a very crazy last week. So in case you didn't see my community tab, I was out of commission for a bit because the Chicagoland area, we got hit really hard. There was like 20 plus tornadoes that were confirmed last week. What was that, Monday night the 15th? So yeah, it was kind of rough out here. Didn't have power for a bit, actually. So lost power Monday night. Come Wednesday, they were like, oh well, you guys probably aren't gonna have power until Friday. Luckily, we didn't have to wait that long, but it was still a very, very long week. And yeah, my birthday was this weekend, so trying to figure out that stuff, got that situated. Took some time to, you know, celebrate my birthday with my husband. And yeah, but now we're back. That video that I released on Monday, because this video is going out on Wednesday, the video that I released on Monday, that was actually a delivery I recorded on Monday the 15th. So it was before I lost power and I didn't get a chance to finish editing everything. So yeah, released that on Monday, but this is my official like I'm back video after everything that happened. So yeah, it's been a crazy last few days, but we're back in business. We are back, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into today's topic. So I came across this article from the New York Post. This was actually something I was going to discuss last week, but since I lost power, I'm a little behind. So pretty sure some people have already talked about it. So apologies if this is a little late, but I did still want to go ahead and give my 2 cents on what's happening. There was an article released by the New York Post. It was in regards to the delivery drivers in New York. And the title of this article reads, NYC food delivery workers losing jobs after minimum wage hike. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I want to go ahead and point out a few highlights, but if you do want to read the full article in its entirety, I will link it in the description, but I'm just going to point out a couple of the percentages that they put in here. So the first thing I want to go ahead and point out that they discussed in this article is the hourly rate that drivers are getting paid, or at least the average. Currently, the average is $19.20, and that's including tips. And that's a huge increase from just a year ago, which was $11.72. So almost doubled. They also wanted to emphasize the cost of the food deliveries and how those prices have gone up. So there has been a 12% increase on the restaurant menu prices for delivery and a 58% in fees on the apps. 58%. And of course, they had to point out that people are tipping less, but you know, I'm not really tripping if you ain't tipping. If that base pay is right, there is no need for a tip. And they're just talking about the percentages for the number of drivers that they're losing. So they're down about 8% since last year. And that's the equivalent of about 50 to 70 drivers getting deactivated every single day. So yeah. Now, first of all, I talked about this whole wage hike back in December when it was first announced. And I kind of predicted that this would happen. So obviously, if the companies are going to be forced to pay more, you know, that money isn't going to come out of their pockets. They were going to raise the prices for the customers. And with the prices going up, there's probably going to be less orders, and there won't be a need of as many drivers as they currently have. So it's kind of like a domino effect, right? But I definitely saw this coming, and I told people, I said, look, y'all need to take advantage. And if something similar like this comes into your city, you need to take advantage while you can, because it will not last long. So first of all, I don't have any firsthand experience. I'm not from New York, so I don't know what the day-to-day looks like for drivers. If you are a viewer and you are from New York, let me know how things have been for you. I'm super curious because, you know, I've seen some other content creators in New York. I've seen, you know, mixed reviews about the whole situation. I know some people were saying at the start of 2024, like I think February, March, specifically for DoorDash, I know the new rewards had went live, and that kind of changed things a bit. And specifically that moment, they're saying that that's when things started to go downhill. But again, like I said, I'm not there, so I can't really say when it started to go downhill. But regardless of when it took a turn, you know, here's how I see it. It's unfortunate that the government had to get involved in order to force these companies to pay the workers fairly. You know, people can argue that, you know, gig work is not sustainable, you know, it's only temporary, which, yeah, I agree with all of that. But work is work, and you deserve to be compensated for that work, regardless of how high or low skill it is. You know, if you're taking the time to do something for a person, you shouldn't be doing that for free. So I am all for getting higher pay for drivers. And honestly, this is only the beginning. You know, every now and then I hear whisperings about other areas trying to do similar things and pretty much just kind of turn it around for drivers, you know, make it a better situation for us. But let's address this elephant in the room for a lot of people, and that's the amount that drivers are getting paid. Some people simply don't agree that delivery drivers should be getting paid $20 or more an hour. And I get it, that's a fair take. You know, if you see a delivery driver making $20, $25 an hour, and that's the same amount that you're making, but your job requires way more skill, I can get why you might not agree with that. But again, that 20 plus an hour that they're making, it's not all being pocketed. You got to put gas back in your car. You got to keep up on your maintenance. Of course, you got to pay taxes at the end of the year because that's not coming out right then and there. So there is a bit of a trade-off there, and they're technically bringing home way less than that 20 an hour. Now, this raises another question. Could this be setting an example for other jobs? And by other jobs, I mean W-2s. Because most of us, we feel like we are overworked and overpaid. And that's the main reason why a lot of us got into gig work in the first place, is because we needed more money, and that flexibility and that independence just made it so much easier to turn to gig work. And this is exactly why the number of new requests for these apps is just through the roof. Imagine if you could potentially make the same amount of money, if not more, on a delivery gig app. Why wouldn't that entice you to go ahead and sign up? You know, everybody wants a piece of it. Matter of fact, there was another section in that same article. They were saying that Uber Eats had a wait list for the first time over there in New York. And there were about 20, I think they said 27,000 people that were on the wait list. And why would they not be on the wait list? You know, they're seeing how much money you can make. Everybody wants a piece of that. The reason why it's like this is because there is no balance. If your delivery jobs are more enticing than your standard W-2, something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong. Like I said, W-2 workers, we are overworked, we are underpaid. A $20 an hour delivery job should not be that enticing. So maybe there should be some overall regulation with W-2 jobs as well. You know, if people were actually getting paid $30, $40, $50 an hour, getting the pay that they actually do deserve for the amount of skill that it takes to do that job, you know, we wouldn't be having this conversation about, oh my goodness, $20 an hour for a delivery driver, that's just ridiculous. You know, I make that doing this. You shouldn't be making that doing this. And that's because you should be getting paid fairly for your skill set. Yeah, if people were paid like how they should in their W-2s, there wouldn't be so many people flocking to gig work. It's just basic math. But I digress. That overall regulation probably won't happen anytime soon, if ever. But in regards to the whole situation in New York, it is unfortunate that drivers are getting deactivated more and more every day, but there has to be a balance somewhere. I would much rather have 100 drivers, and those 100 drivers have access to quality orders every single day, just back to back to back. They're making their money. I would much rather have that than 500 drivers nitpicking at all of these orders, no tip orders, low paying orders, whatever it may be. And you're just cycling through. Eventually somebody takes an order, but you're not getting quality. You're more or less wasting your time out there on the road. At least with those 100 drivers that I have out there, they're actually getting their money's worth. There is no reason to have the same amount of drivers when the order volume has dropped drastically. And speaking of order volume, let's talk to the customers for a second, because I know a lot of people were upset that their prices for these services have skyrocketed. I get it. But as I've stated in the past, These services are luxuries. Convenience is a luxury. And if you want that convenience, you should be expecting to pay luxury prices. $10 sandwich that you can get for $10 if you walk into the store, if it costs you $20, $25 to get it to your doorstep, hey, then so be it. It's a luxury. You're paying for the luxury service. And yeah, and you ain't gotta worry about tipping no more, because yeah, if you're paying that much more for the service fees and delivery fees and all that, and it actually is going to the driver, if you don't want to give a tip, you ain't got to give a tip. So if you want to go ahead and step away from the platform, go ahead and step away from the platform, because one, that allows you to save money, because a lot of people do not know how to manage their money and they will waste it on things that they do not need. And yes, these services you don't really need. You are just being lazy. And some people might take offense to that, but I can admit that I'm lazy sometimes, and that's just part of life. Sometimes you just don't want to do nothing and you just want somebody to go ahead and do it for you. There is nothing wrong with that. There have been plenty of times when I have gone grocery shopping and I have the intention of going and cooking a nice home cooked meal, but by the time I get home and I put up everything and I sit down, I'm like, man, I might order me some Chinese food. I got lazy in that moment. You know what? That's normal. That's literally normal. And while yes, there are some people that might need these services for whatever reasons, you know, if they're older, if they're sick, whatever it may be, but a majority of people, I would say a good 85, maybe 90%. That might be kind of generous. Most of those people that use those platforms, y'all just lazy. Just admit it, y'all just lazy. So yeah, paying luxury prices for convenience, that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. I personally don't see a problem with it. I know that is going to lower the order volume and there's going to be less opportunity for drivers, and they will have to deactivate drivers, unfortunately. But going back to what I previously stated, which was kind of off topic, we wouldn't even be fighting over these orders or getting on these platforms if people were already getting paid what they deserve to be getting paid at their W-2 jobs. I know some people want to do gig work specifically as their primary source of income, but there's a lot of us, a good majority of people that are in gig work, they're in gig work because they need to get it somewhere else outside of their W-2. I guarantee that if we got that situation handled, there wouldn't be that much oversaturation in the gig scene. I promise you. I promise you. I know some people can argue, well, the illegals and this and that. That's a topic for another day. Yeah, in regards to New York folks, you know, I'm hoping everything works out for you. Keep hustling. And for those who unfortunately may have gotten affected by this, you got deactivated off of a platform that you've been using for a bit, I'm hoping that you can get it another way. But the thing is, like I've said before, you cannot be relying on these apps because you can get cut pretty much anytime, and they don't really need a reason to deactivate you off these platforms. So these apps should not be your long-term goal. You got to find something else. You got to find other means. So use these apps as stepping stones. You know, at least find an out, find an exit plan, because this isn't going to last forever. This is not going to last forever. But until then, keep stacking your money, keep getting it, and just make the best of it. That's really all I can say. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I got for this video. So yeah, I would definitely love to know your thoughts. Like I said before, if there are any people who are in New York and you're seeing what's happening firsthand, I would love to know your experience. I would love to know some insight as far as what's going on a regular, because, you know, I can only speculate. So yeah, feel free to let me know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments. Now, before I go, I have to remind you guys to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a video. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. And as always, stay safe out there and keep grinding.